Bundles, bundles, and bundles. Now, almost everyone is talking about bundles in e-commerce right now, and for good reasons, right? Bundles are a great way to increase AOV, get people a taste of what you sell sometimes, or just really increase the value that people can get out of your product. So I'm all for bundles. But what happens is the advice out there almost makes it seem like you can just set a bunch of products together, put that as a bundle, put it on your website, and all of a sudden everybody's going to buy it and your AOV is magically going to double, right? I wish it would be that easy. It unfortunately isn't. And of course, right, you may have done that or you may do it and then you get lucky and bam, that first bundle is the right bundle. But that is the equivalent of betting that you're going to win the lottery, right? You can either cross your fingers and hoping whatever random thing that you do is going to work out, or you can actually be strategic about things, follow a strategy, and, get to a win a little sooner if, you're not lucky the first time around. So in this video, I want to talk about how to decide what to put in a bundle, how to create a bundle in order to increase your e-commerce sales. And I'm giving this advice based on the decade of experience we have here at SplitBase, optimizing websites from 9-figure and 8-figure e-commerce brands, and that includes building and testing a lot of bundles. So before you even start thinking about which bundle you want to create, right, the number one thing I advise brands is to stop thinking about bundles being a way to increase your AOV and start thinking about bundles as a way for your customers to get more value out of your brand and your product. Once we start thinking around what does it make sense to offer as a bundle, what would customers enjoy buying as a bundle, right? Then it really starts shifting our mindset around it. And then you'll start thinking of bundles that are a lot more useful to people than if you just look at numbers and try to put a bunch of products together that have high margins. So the first thing after you've made that little mindset shift is you'll want to determine your goal. Who is your bundle for, right? Because if you're building a bundle for returning customers, that's a very different thing than building a bundle to attract first-time customers. For example, right, if you are building a bundle with large quantities of a single item or of multiple items, right, that can be fantastic for returning customers, but it may not be interesting for a first-time customer who still hasn't tried your product yet. On the flip side, right, if you're trying to get new customers into your brand, well, then in that case, having a sample pack, right, with a couple quantities of different flavors, if you sell food products or beverages, right, well, that can be a great incentive that reduces decision fatigue, right? The new customer doesn't have to try to think about which flavors to buy, but it also gives them the opportunity to buy multiple products at once, and then you also win by having a higher AOV. So I would even add that it has the potential to increase your lifetime value as well, because if people only try one product and they don't like it, but then with the sample pack, they try multiple flavors and maybe they don't like all the flavors, but they really love one flavor, well, then that's an extra way of getting your customers to come back, right? So for first-time customers, we'll want to be strategic with how we do bundles. And, there's a lot to gain, and that's the reality. Now, I would say if you sell furniture, for example, or, other goods that aren't food products, right? Well, you probably can't do sample packs or large quantity packs, but your bundles might include accessories, right? And those can be great for both returning and new customers. But you have to be strategic with what you put in those bundles, and it's going to require some testing. So, with that being said, now that you understand, one, that you have to shift your mindset to build bundles that are useful to your customers, and two, that bundles have to be targeted based on your goal, on whether you want it for returning customers or for new customers. Well, the third thing is to actually decide what goes into those bundles, right? So I would say there's usually 3 ways of going at it. The first one, which is one of the most common and probably the easiest to pull off, is really just to look at your frequently bought together items, right? Look at those items and then take a couple together, put them together and test that bundle. It's really that simple, okay? Now, the question that remains is how many of those items should be bundled together? What should the price be? I'm going to get to that in a second, but the reality is that the rules here are going to be very, very different for each and every businesses. It all depends on what you sell. So you're going to have to A/B test your bundles quite a bit. And right now, right before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this is a good time for doing that. Now, of course, that depends on when you watch this video. But another thing that you'll want to consider is, especially for first-time customers, right, is to have trial sizes. So if you have smaller packs of your products and you put it in a bundle, that could be a great offer for first-time customers. Now, what you may encounter, however, is that a couple trial-sized products ends up being cheaper or gives you a lower AOV than your, just maybe one full-sized product. And that can be okay, but it really should depend on your goal, right? If your goal is to increase AOV, maybe this new sample size or trial size bundle doesn't increase your AOV. However, if you run a test where you have those trial sizes that may have a lower AOV than a regular purchase, if you then run this test and analyze the performance of people who bought that over the course of 3, 6, or 12 months, what you may discover is that people who bought the trial sizes actually came back and had a higher conversion rate. So if that's the case, right, and you look beyond the AOV on the day of the first order and the conversion rate on the day of the first order, you may actually find out that a purchase of the trial size bundle leads to a higher lifetime value, and ultimately you're still winning, even though the first time order may have a lower AOV. So just something to keep in mind. Now, the third thing you can offer is regular sized products, but in sample packs, right? So let's say you sell, granola bars, right? But you sell 5 different flavors. Instead of selling 5 boxes of one flavor or a box of minis, what you would do with a sample pack is just, regular sized version of your product, but maybe 2 bars of each flavor in one box. And that way, maybe you increase the quantity a little bit for each of the products, and maybe the AOV is a little higher than the others, or maybe it's just the price of one box, right? Again, here, what's best, one, needs to be tested, and second, the decision is best made after looking at the performance of that bundle over the course of 3, 6, and 12 months, and then making a decision on whether it actually helps the customer lifetime value or whether it doesn't. So those are the 3 ways or most common ways of building bundles, right? Pairing frequently bought together items. And when that's the case, pair items that, increase value. For example, if you sell soaps, well, maybe you want to sell, or bar soaps, maybe a soap saver dish is a good pair with a bar soap, right? If you sell tents for camping, right, different camping equipment may be a great fit for that camping or tent bundle. You can also try trial sizes. So let's say you sell skincare, so smaller versions of your products in a bundle so people can try a lot of different things. Or third way is just to have a sample pack where you have a couple of each version of your products, but in full sizes, where people can sample all your different flavors. Let's say you have a food product. Now, once you've kind of built those bundles, there are 2 more things that are very important to keep in mind. And it's first, if you really want to get the best performance on those bundles, and this is not necessary and you have to test it, but most of the time, this is the way to go, right? If you want to have a no-brainer offer and you want your bundles to be appealing, well, it's great to have a small discount or an incentive of some sort that actually convinces people to get higher quantities or, some sort of bundle instead of getting the items individually, right? So there are many, many examples where bundles with no savings has still worked really well, and that depends on what you sell. But more often than not, a small saving on the bundles is going to incentivize people to get the bundles, get that higher AOV product, and, ultimately increase your e-commerce performance. And the final thing is really to test, right? There is no one-size-fits-all bundle strategy. There's no one-size-fits-all bundle, end of the story, right? So you have to test those bundles. A/B test them. Make sure you also segment your audiences, right? Try to understand what works best maybe for Facebook customers and audiences versus Google traffic or returning customers that comes from email. You may notice that the performance is going to be drastically different per bundle, per traffic sources, right? Some offers, and this is very common, are best for cold top-of-funnel meta traffic versus some offers are just best for your email traffic that targets your existing customers. So make sure to be very smart around the analysis of the performance of your bundles. Otherwise, you may call something a wash when it's really a win. And then second, just make sure to always test new bundles, different bundles, and that is really the roadmap to success with bundles. So with that being said, I hope this helps you craft a bundling strategy that helps you grow your e-commerce sales. And if you want more of these videos, make sure to like and follow for more.